The day I found the skull. The day I found the skull was the happiest day of my life, because it was a confirmation. I had been sending out signals for the longest time, and I had been getting back garbled messages that didn't make sense. I would spend so much time and energy trying to make sense out of the garble. I would tear down my universe and supplant it with a new one, just to try to be a better form for receiving the messy noise that was coming back to me. And I would often get in trouble for doing this. I would often find myself being hunted and prosecuted for mind reversals and reality tampering. We don't like our folks to be otherwise than what we are was a very clear message I was getting from the people I got in trouble by. But as for those people, it did take them quite a long time to lock onto and identify me, apprehend me, get me off the streets where I had just been happily ambling on by, where I'd been merely strolling, rolling along, a harm to no one, not even my own self, just otherwise thinking my thoughts about what that garbled message was. And I always got so very close to decoding it, so very close it wet my taste buds. I could go on quite a run sometimes. I'd convince myself this time was it. It was going to happen this time. So there was a house with tenants in it, and I was the guy who helped make sure new tenants got found when old tenants were leaving. This time there were two tenants leaving, one on top of the other, the second and third floor folks. The apartment layouts were identical, but the tenants could not have been more different than each other. The second floor tenant was very sparse, hardly any furniture, and only a few esoteric decorations on the walls. The whole place was excessively dusty. He'd never dusted once in 3 years, never swept the floor either. It was a very hot day when I came to visit the building. The second floor tenant was outside, sitting on the wooden rear stairs in the direct sunlight, sweating profusely with his eyes closed and his head tilted up toward the sun. The third floor tenant was laying in his bed with the air conditioning blasting. The third floor apartment was spotless and well decorated. There was order balancing atop a pile of chaos, balanced perfectly and confidently like a tightrope walker. Neither knew it except me. I was the only witness to the dichotomy, the only one to walk between both worlds as both ambassador and spectator. I wanted to see the final show. I wanted to see the showdown, what lifestyle would win, which would rent first and fetch the highest rent. I saw there were two very different magics at work. Which was the stronger, I wanted to ask in my thoughts. Both apartments rented same day, first day for remarkably high prices, so there was no way to be a judge from that observation. I had to wait till the old tenants vacated to find out. When I visited again to look things over, the third floor was spotless and clean and vacated of all tenant belongings. It was a perfect move-in ready unit. The second floor was still very dusty all over. It too appeared to be vacant, but when I got to the kitchen I saw the skull hanging in the pantry, a very old bull skull. And inside the refrigerator were 4 unopened cans of craft beer. These two items had been left behind and were now mine for the taking as the booty we pirates set sail for. While I drank the beer, I imagined the night before there had been an epic battle between the two tenants, and the third floor tenant annihilated the second floor tenant, and all that remained of this battle and that second floor tenant were these two trophies, the beer or the spirit, and the skull or the body. Order triumphed over chaos scrolled as a banner across my mind. And like a savage cat who wanted to protect its owner, he left behind trophies for the body and mind of the only other witness to triumph. The skull as a permanent reminder of the gravity of the knowledge of which force is superior, and the beer a well-earned comfort to be enjoyed on one of those subsequent sweltering hot days. It's not so often you get to play a whole game start to finish with the master of the universe. Most of the time they tackle you on your front lawn and drag you away to be muted before you can get to the end of one game with him. But every so often, and for me, maybe only this once, you get to the end and find the payoff is that this round you just played is for free.